Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome to another edition of Bourbon Broncos No BS a la carte. My name is Kev Dan, and I'm glad to be with y'all here tonight. Tonight's menu is going to feature nothing but running backs and wide receivers. Last week, we spent 20 minutes talking about quarterbacks, so we are not going to talk about quarterbacks tonight. We are going to spend some solid time breaking down the running backs and the wide receivers and get some talk going on there. So as you're joining in, please go ahead and post some comments, post some questions. Make sure you hit that follow button because once we get closer to the start of the season, we're going to be bringing back our full slate of shows to include our full Tuesday night show of Bourbon Broncos No BS. We're also going to have our pregame and postgame podcast, our pregame live show, and our halftime live show as well. And then videos posted throughout the week on our YouTube channel and everywhere else. So make sure, guys, you are checking us out and following us because we have a ton of Broncos content headed your way. So first off, let's talk about running backs. I think this is one of the things that was missing last year in terms of production. And, you know, Samaje Perine did well. And you were also looking at Jaleel McLaughlin. He started to really make a name for himself as the season went along. So, you know, those two went well. Javonte Williams, obviously still the number one running back for the Broncos right now. But what we saw last year was tough to see because, you know, looking back to his rookie year, we remember what Javonte was doing his rookie year. And just, you know, it took 5, 6, 7, 8 guys to tackle him, right? But then he got hurt really bad. He hurt his knee. He was out for some time. He was able to heal in time for the season, but he never was able to focus on getting in game shape. His whole focus was, I need to get in shape enough, like just basic enough shape for me to be able to play in the season, but not really spend time pushing himself to that next level. So we kind of saw a step back for Javonte. And it's not to be unexpected, and I don't blame him at all. I don't think any of us can. But what we're really, really going to want to see, and early on in the season is going to be very telling for what we're going to expect from him for the rest of the year, is, you know, how is that injury? Is it still, healed well enough for him to go back to the way he was playing his rookie year? Or has he plateaued, and this is kind of like maybe his new ceiling. I think he can definitely push himself to that next realm. You also have to remember Javonte has some serious competition behind him with Samaje, Jaleel McLaughlin. I don't think any of those two could really be the number one, but with Audric Estime right behind him as well. I mean, that guy has a really good rookie year, and now you could be talking about next year who's the number one running back for the Broncos. Is it Javonte or Audric? And does that mean somebody gets traded? Who knows, right? But that's going to give us some real good indication as to what that's going to look like. D-Rock, how you doing? Glad you're here, man. Everyone else who's joining in the comments, go and start putting in your questions and thoughts revolving the running backs and wide receivers. I want to make sure we cover those tonight. Guys, can you believe it? Friday is almost here, and it's not just any Friday. Football is back. Training camp starts. We're going to be out there. I'm going to be out there for, at least a little bit, interacting with people. If you're there and you see me, make sure you say hi. Trying to get some interviews done with the fans out there and whatnot as we get ready for the Broncos training camp to kick off. And so Friday is it. Football is back. And again, guys, you are not going to want to miss all of the Broncos content we have for you here at Bourbon Broncos and OBS. So hit that follow button for us. So I want to hear from you all. What are your thoughts on Javonte? Are you worried about his production level after him coming back from that injury last year? Is he going to be able to push it up to the next level? Because again, for this year, I think it is what it is. Javonte is number one, barring some, crazy, I don't want to go there and jinx something. But then we're looking again at next year. And what is that going to look like? What is that running back room going to look like? I'm going to say we're very well set up for the future here. We're young, talented, have a wide variety of different types of running backs. The the way that Sean Payton really likes to utilize the running backs is a really important point as well, and that is in the passing game. So to get these guys that experience, is just going to be key, and it's going to help out everything from the youth we have in the wide receiver room now as well. I mean, we are very talented there. I think the potential for the wide receiver room to do very well this year is there, but that goes back to the whole Bo Nix conversation, or who's going to be our quarterback and what does that look like, right? But we're just going to assume that Bo Nix plays at least like an average rookie quarterback. It's not terrible. It's not amazing, but there's going to be some production there. And I think you're going to have opportunities for these young wide receivers to really, really make a statement and show that they deserve to stay on the team. One of the main ones I'm really looking at, obviously, Troy Franklin, played football with Bo Nix in college. And so how is that connection going to form? And how long is it going to take to form? Is it going to be there right away by the start of the season, where they kind of just pick up where they left off? Or does, players like, obviously Marvin Mims, we expect him to see some more playing time. Tim Patrick, he's going to be back in the fold of things. Brandon Johnson is still around. So look, these guys are going to be vying for spots on the team and a lot of playing time. So where does Franklin play into all of that? And now we have Josh Reynolds as well. So, Troy Franklin may really just be a true special teams guy at the start of the season, at the very least. And that's might be the only time we see him. But, that would be interesting to see if all of a sudden there is that chemistry from college still left over between Franklin and Nix. You could see an opportunity there for Franklin to get out there and get some more playing time. I don't know if that's something we cycle people out, like keep Tim Patrick fresh so he's not out there all the time, kind of reduce the chance for injury and wear and tear on him throughout the length of the season. We're going to have to see how he comes back. Obviously, we remember what happened the last 2 years with Tim Patrick and getting injured right away at the start of training camp. And so that is just something, obviously, we are trying very, very hard to ignore and just be like, there's no way that's going to happen 3 times in a row. Okay. Give the guy a break. Give us as fans a break. We want to see Timmy P out there and breaking ankles, making plays, and really complimenting Cortland Sutton. I mean, if Tim Patrick can get back into kind of the shape he was a few years ago before his injuries, and you got Sutton and Tim Patrick out there, that's going to leave open, a lot of opportunities for the passing game to be spread out amongst the running backs, some of these other wide receivers, because again, when you have 2 top tier wide receivers that the defense is really focusing in on, but then you got a lot of young but very talented players around them as well that maybe they're not as well known. They're very hungry for a chance to prove themselves, right? This could be a team that comes together very quickly in that way. So I don't know. Again, I want to hear your thoughts. I talk to myself all day long, so it's only fun if I hear from what you guys have to say. So make sure you put something in the comments around those guys. Going back to Tim Patrick, talking about Javonte Williams and his injury, bigger question mark is Timmy P. What is he going to look like when he comes back at the start of the season here? What are we going to see from him in training camp? Is he going to be very low key, kind of just getting some reps, trying to warm up into the season? Or is he kind of already there, ready to play? Right. And so that's going to be very interesting to see what time he gets in preseason games. I would expect probably not much at all. He'll be with the first team out there, and I can't see them letting him out there any more than that. But what kind of production is he going to bring to the game? And that's a question that worries me, because I love Tim Patrick and I want him to succeed for the team and for me as a fan. But yeah, let's see. D-Rock, how you doing? Instead of who's the starter at running back, but we will have a 2-headed or 3-headed monster in the backfield. Yeah. And this is where the versatility of how Sean Payton uses the running backs really comes into play. Because again, it's not just we need, guys that'll run fast or be able to plow through the pile and still get 5 yards after contact, right? We also need guys that can run those quick routes, catch the ball, and make some plays almost like a wide receiver. We also need guys that can block. So players like Audric Estime is going to do wonders for, I think, a blocking game. You put him out there. I mean, this dude is huge. You think about Derrick Henry, he's a little smaller than Derrick Henry, but that's essentially how big this guy is. Okay. It is, I don't even want to imagine how, thick his, biceps are or something like that. It's just crazy from the videos. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying in the running back room. I think it's one of actually our stronger position groups on offense, at least, because it's very young, but we have experience in Javonte, Samaje, and McLaughlin. I mean, they have experience as well, but then we have a totally different kind of player in Audric there that's going to, I think, just do wonders for us and give us options and throw the defense off when we're trying to, they're trying to figure out what we're doing. If we put, P. Ryan and Audric out there, are we passing? Are we running? Who's blocking? Who's the decoy? It gets very messy very quickly. So that's going to do very, very well for us, I think, this year and in coming years when we're looking at, okay, do we really need a draft running back? Do we have someone that we can trade to get more draft capital? Because again, we have got to build through the draft. And now that we're finally seeing this team admit that we have to do an honest rebuild, even though they won't say the word rebuild, that's what they're doing, guys. That is going to allow us to, have these options of really coming together and saying, what do we need for the team? What's out there in the draft, and build this team up organically, just like the Chiefs did. If we keep having these years where we lose, half to all of the players that we drafted over the course of the first 5 years from the draft, right, then this team just is not going to grow. They're just not. We cannot play the go and find free agents to build a dynasty team. We just can't. Thankfully, we, having the richest owners in the NFL is going to help when it comes to some of those other things they can provide. So we build the team organically, then we can start helping that out with building in free agents. But that's not our main point when we're trying to build this team like we have been since, Peyton Manning left. Once Peyton Manning left, we were trying to keep the team together and keep them strong through free agency. We were not, the draft kept failing year after year after year. And that's where, as much as good as John Elway has done for us, that's where he really hurt us as well, was the draft strategy was just not there for the Broncos. And that's what's put us in this position that we're in, right? Obviously, we should have seen this as a full rebuild 2 years after Peyton Manning left, but we didn't. And so now we're looking at this, and finally we're seeing a young position group like the running backs, who are young but talented, have experience, are hungry, are dedicated, you can see how this just gives Coach Payton so many options for how to utilize the running backs in the offense and how to disguise that against defenses and throw them off their game. I mean, that's huge, because I don't think we've really seen that for a long time. You look at the wide receivers, we're maybe starting to get there, but you got to ask, between Courtland Sutton and Tim Patrick, how many more good years do we really have out of them? A couple, can we really count on Tim Patrick to be at the peak of his game now after the last 2 years of not playing due to injury? I hope he is. I'm really hopeful, but we're just going to have to wait to see. But then same thing with Courtland Sutton. Look, last year he did phenomenal. And you take Courtland Sutton out of the Broncos offense last year, I don't know if we win 2 games. He was that explosive of a player for us last year. But how many good years does he have? Again, so you're looking at 2 years there. Who do we have notably on our wide receiver core other than him? We just got Josh Reynolds from Detroit. We're going to be looking at Troy Franklin, Devon Vele, that could, I mean, I'm hearing that could be like the steal of this year's draft. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Brandon Johnson, okay, like, yeah, he's done enough to stay with the team for a while. Phil Dorsett, okay, but those aren't guys I can see us building a team around. Like, those are the special teams guys. Those are the third string wide receivers, that are out there. The guys that aren't probably going to be throwing the ball more than a couple times a year. So then we're looking at the future of the team, and I just don't know what the future of the wide receiver core looks like yet. Whereas the running backs, you could really see this go multiple directions in terms of what it looks like in the future. But you're looking at those four guys right there in the running back room, I can see a future there. Looking at wide receivers, I can't see it yet. And it's just going to take a lot of time this year to, really break down the film and see what they have. And if it's anything worth, them keeping, or are we going to have to redraft players? Are we going to try to trade? What is that going to look like? Right. So anyway, that is the breakdown I have for you guys in terms of running backs and wide receivers. I would say, long story short, if I had to sum it up, running backs, I really like where we're at running backs. It's going to be interesting to see where the coach utilizes his players there. Wide receivers, my dog is super into Broncos talk too. He wants to join you. Wide receivers, we got talent, but how? I just don't know. I just don't know if it's reliable talent based off of age and lack of experience from those younger players. So then you throw into the mix a brand new rookie quarterback. It's going to be interesting, guys. But hey, again, football is back this week in just a few short days. Training camp will start for the Broncos on Friday. Look out for all of our videos. Make sure you hit that follow button. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And look, guys, it's going to be a fun ride. So no matter how the Broncos do, we will be here for you guys, breaking it all down. So don't miss out. That being said, guys, I have nothing left to say other than to end this as we always do here at Bourbon Broncos and OBS on a very strong Go Broncos. Take care.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know